Hi everybody, welcome back to Starfield Raw. This is episode number 65. I am Joe the Widget, and I am joined by my fellow co-host, the extraordinarily extraordinaire space trucker Kilo.
See, you shorted me before, so now you're doubling down, and I appreciate that.
You had to make up for it.
And I appreciate that. And you may notice that I sound a little bit different this week. That's because I have an actual mic in front of me, thanks to a very generous listener of ours who conspired with Wigit, and now I have a mic, and we're going to be sounding a lot better from here on out.
Now, please keep in mind, I am recording from a hotel room that apparently decided to have really terrible internet today. I'm recording at 10 megs a second, so he might be roboting out, and he will not sound near as good and crisp as he will next week. But it's mostly the internet's fault. But you sound a lot more clear. Your voice is deeper than it sounds the other mic.
Yeah, well, I'm going for sultry and little ear candy for our listeners.
Well, we're gonna make some adjustments when I get back to home, and we'll get your mic sounding perfectly crisp and get you going.
Awesome.
So we've got an interesting show tonight. We have a pretty good discussion point that Kilo came up with that I think is awesome. We got some mods like usual, and there's something in the news that is kind of mind blowing, and I keep thinking, why? What is that?
You gotta admire it. You really do.
Admire it and kind of scared for that person at the same time. So in the news, yeah. You want to introduce it?
Keep that out there.
Do you want to introduce the news?
Yeah, we can do the news. This is super weird, and I've actually, since I found the article, I found it this morning. I've been seeing it everywhere, and it is titled "Starfield player spends 1,000 hours getting to level 1,000,"
which is insane.
Which is bonkers.
Absolutely insane. I don't know how. Well, I know how they did it because I was reading the article about it earlier, and they reached level 1,000 in 45 days game time. That's 45 days without taking a break. If they did it straight, but they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't set out to do it either. They eventually, he maxed out at 326s, which is what you need to max out all of your skill points.
Yep. So we know there's 326 possible skill points.
Yep. And then he got to level 450 just by playing normally. Now, keeping in mind that generally the higher you go in the levels, the more experience points that you need.
Yeah.
And once he made it to 450, he decided, well, I'm just going to go to 500. Oh, well, I got 500. Let's go to 600. And eventually got to 1,000. He says after a certain point, the only way to gain levels was by crafting I knew I was going to butcher this one. Vitininium fuel rod.
It's a hard one.
See, I got it. That was a tough one. Basically, normal gameplay just couldn't keep up. So it was about 15 million of these fuel rods.
In the game industry, we call that an XP curve. So when you're doing level balancing, you create an XP curve. So what that means is that every level gets progressive by a certain percentage to get to whatever level. And I don't know if there is a cap in this game.
I had heard before that once you get to a certain point, the game would really start bugging out. That was just hearsay. But I had heard that before, that it becomes an issue at a certain point. But apparently, not for this guy.
Yeah. Wow. 15 million Vitininium fuel rods.
Yeah.
It was my turn to butcher that.
The most Yeah, see, I don't feel alone. The most impressive feat is that they spent 121 in-game years leveling up, over a century in Starfield.
So that just proves once you're Starborn, you're immortal.
Obviously. He fully surveyed, I say he, I'm not sure if it's he or she. They fully surveyed 616 planets, killed 5,000 people, built 280 outposts, and hoarded 43.5 million credits.
See, I'm only 126, and I've killed just as much people.
Well, he had the manufacturing of the fuel rods. He used the auto hotkey to automate the crafting.
Oh, okay.
But he still had to collect the materials. That's still insane.
Well, I did a little experiment with automation for crafting, and I never got XP for doing it. The only way I was able to get XP was by manually crafting.
Interesting. I wonder how he managed that then.
Yeah. There's ways you can automate it in the game, but builds everything and puts it into storage. So you don't get any experience for it.
Interesting. I was not aware of that because I've never built an outpost.
And that's going to go into our main topic today.
This is pretty good. You want to go right to the main topic? You want to save the playthroughs?
You know what? Yeah, let's mix it up because that was a good segue for this.
That was pretty good. That was totally on accident. That was just instinct.
Yeah, roll with it, man.
I'm going to. So I was cruising through Reddit on the Starfield Reddit. I found a post not far down. It's actually relatively new. It's by Boot Comprehensive 321, talking about how they've played Starfield for a year, like we have as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they've yet to create their own spacecraft after a whole year of playing.
That's mind-blowing in itself.
It is pretty crazy to me. Like, you think at least, like, at some point, the curiosity would have kicked in. It's like a main feature of the game. But what it made me think about is we've played just as long. What's something that you haven't done in the game yet, even after a year of playing, after all the hours you have, level 127, what is in the game that you have not done yet?
Okay. Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. So I've obviously built Outposts. I did it early on because I wanted to check it out and I wanted to learn it so I can talk about it on the air and all that good stuff. And of course, I had to build a ship right away. That was a given. I think I've done most all the side quests, all the main quests, but the one thing that I can think of right off the top of my head is I have never hired anyone, any follower, other than Constellation.
Okay.
And I've never had more than 3 people on my ship.
You didn't, even after the Crucible, you never got Amelia?
Nope.
Oh, man. Wow.
Never went to a bar and hired anybody in all my characters.
Well, that's my base ship building mind is trying to wrap around that because I'm the exact opposite of that.
Oh, really?
I have to, well, I mean, yeah. Last playthrough, I think I mentioned this before, but my last playthrough, I went through one of the first things I did when I got into the playthrough, as soon as I was able, was go around and collect all of the named crew members that you could get for your ship.
Okay.
Yeah. And I never, because you see a lot of them that are just like, oh, this person is a shield systems specialist or this person is a gunner specialist. I never hired any of them. But if they had a name, they were in crew for me.
Yeah, I haven't done that. And that's been something I've been thinking about doing. I'm kind of doing something I really haven't fully explored yet in my playthrough right now. And that's just doing a complete chaos playthrough, evil.
Yeah.
I attempted it on one of our early challenges, but to be perfectly fair, I wasn't completely evil the entire way. I mean, after all, Sarah married that guy.
That's actually funny you brought that up. As I started my new character, I'll get into it in my playthrough, but I started my new character, and the first real interaction that you can have with anybody outside of Vectera is, of course, Sarah. And I just couldn't bring myself to be mean. I couldn't commit to any mean or snarky comments.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
I'll get into that a little bit of my playthrough, but man, is it tough. It's just the morality that you grew up with kind of gets in the way of that.
It really does. And it's something that I'm having PTSD flashbacks of Mass Effect. That's obviously hyperbole, but flashbacks of Mass Effect because I did do a fully evil playthrough in that game, and it hurt so much.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I did the same thing with Fable 2.
Yeah, that's right. We have talked about that. Yeah.
And it was extremely tough for me to do. It really was.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's like it's a video game. Like, these aren't real people. This is all data being displayed on a screen for our entertainment. But still, it's like, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, you know? Like,
exactly. It's just, yeah, like you said, it's just digital. But you know, that ingrained morality that you grew up with and the person that you are kind of gets interferes with that because you get into the story so much that you put yourself in that environment.
Well, I think that's a good sign of a very good game too.
Oh, yeah,
an immersive
for sure.
Story.
We have a new listener that is in our Discord, and they were mentioning today. What's his name? I'm not going to say his name. Let's call him Busty Mick.
Call him Busty.
Yeah, Busty.
I was going to say just Busty. Yeah,
that's why it's a good idea to have a decent name in Discord.
Right. Yeah.
What was I? I just lost my point because I got too busy reading his name.
We're talking about the morality choices and stuff, and he said he brought something up in the Discord.
Yeah, and I completely forgot. What is wrong with me?
Well, I'm part of the same conversation. I forgot where you're going with it too.
Yeah, I completely lost it. That was so weird.
We both work too much. That's our problem.
Yeah, I've been working like crazy nonstop for months now. Oh,
well, why do you think
driving me nuts? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, think about it, and I'll say the first thing that comes to mind about something that I have not done, and that's build a complete working outpost, which is
Oh.
really, really weird for me. Because in Skyrim, right?
Mm-hmm.
I built all the houses. I had all the houses. I had them. They were all furnished. I built all the Hearthstone or whatever that expansion was,
Yeah, that was to
where you
say
could
we.
build a house.
Yeah, that was the first time we introduced. They introduced a building mechanic in the game, and that was actually something that was pre-designed early on, but was ex-nayed because of some bugs issues.
It's interesting because I really loved that system. I thought it was great the way that was designed. Of course, in Fallout 4, as it were, I was big into settlement building, but now I'm in Starfield and I haven't even I attempted to put like one little mining thing on a planet and it didn't work out. So that's
This
one
thing
thing
that
I yet
This
to
is something we
come.
brought up on the show before, but is an interesting thought because, yeah, they have a fantastic outpost building mechanic in the game, but there's very little incentive to do it other than RP or to
Right.
get a lot of XP.
I think the only thing that they need to do to really, I think, draw more people into it is copy the caravan system, Fallout 4. Now, you could argue that the intra-system and inter-system landing pads and things is covers that, but it's not. It's a little bit tricky, right? Isn't
Mm-hmm.
it? There's a little bit that goes into it. Whereas if you could just do the same thing that you could do in the Boston wasteland and just say, hey, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, make it simple, I think more people might do it. Because part of it is you have to get all of these resources to whatever place you're building. You don't have anything or you're missing something, you got to go get it somewhere else. It's like, it's a little bit more work.
Yeah,
And like
that's
you
actually
said, there's
though
was not a,
that's one of my favorite things about it is the complicated nature of it.
oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't make sense really if you think about it that your the landing pads for your resources. So it can only go
Yeah.
between two locations. You can't do more than that. You can only have two of those pads per outpost. Well, it becomes a little bit of a puzzle in
Right.
viewing like your chaining and your resource chains, but I don't know why you couldn't have multiple aircraft coming into the same spot from different locations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you're dispatching the ship. You go to your landing pad. You're like, okay, well, I need to access my resources over here and over here and over here, and then it's done. And then like I think it's might be a little more complicated than it has to be. I don't know why they went with that. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but yeah, it hasn't appealed to me yet. I can't think
Yeah.
of anything else I haven't done yet. Because I mean I know there's like some side missions you guys have mentioned before, tip encounters that I don't think I've come across yet either.
Oh, I'm sure there's some small side missions I haven't done yet. I haven't done very much of the mission boards. Very few, in fact. There's many of the mission boards that I have never done because to me there's not much incentive. The XP is not the greatest and the monetary gain is not the greatest and there's no real story attached to it, so I haven't felt the need to do it.
Yeah, it's more like a killing time thing.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, you know what I haven't done yet that I want to do? I ran across one once and I didn't do it, and I need to go back and do it. And that is they look like oil platforms, like those random POIs.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, I have not done one of those yet.
I have
That is
never
what I
found
need
the
to
one
do.
that's on the frozen planets where it's full of bugs.
Yeah, yeah, I ran across it once my first playthrough, and I think it was like the first planet I tried to explore. I landed and I saw it in the distance. I started walking towards it. I'm like, is that an oil rig? What is that? And I'm like, okay, well, I'll check it out later. And then I never went back. And then I started hearing the stories about like how supposedly horrific it is.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
I've seen the videos.
yeah.
Rook's talked about
So
it.
like, yes, I remember. Yeah. So I mean, that's one I definitely want to go back and do.
Speaking of Rook, we do
Yeah,
have a
Rook.
log from him tonight, so look for that near the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rook's blog. Looking forward to that one. I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head right this moment.
There was
Do you
something
want to
else.
get into place?
No, hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
We're still on this topic right here.
With you, man. I'm with you.
My brain is all over the map right now. I know there's something else I haven't done yet, but I'll remember that in a second. But going back to the outpost incentive, what I think they really need to do is put more story focus on the outposts by creating quests and quest chains that are related to building. Like you have to create your
Yeah.
own, like building an empire. Like you become a subsidiary of Ryujin, for instance, and you have to have like 8 different outposts on different planets doing different resources and chain them all together and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that would be really awesome. I think it would be really cool too if they made it more like a settlement
Yes.
where and yes, there is a mod for this, by the way. But in the vanilla game, it would be nice if you could put an outpost beacon out there and like invite travelers. I mean, obviously you're still going to have to deal with pirates and things of that nature.
Yeah, that would
To
give you more
invite
incentive to protect it too and worry about the protection of the outpost.
Right. Exactly. Again, from Fallout 4. So, yeah, I would love that. That would be excellent.
Because right now, if you're in a environment that has hostile animals, they will attack your outpost, and so will spacers and Crimson Fleet and all them.
Right.
But I've rarely had my outpost ever attacked, so I don't think I've ever really built defenses, so I haven't needed to.
You really?
Hmm.
I thought that you got more attacks if your outpost was like worth more, was producing more.
Probably, but I think you have to be there.
Okay.
And the only
Oh,
time I go
really?
to my
Okay.
outpost is like right now. I have my Bezel 3B outpost, which I use for creating the frames, adaptive
Well, that's
frames.
a lot easy. That's a lot. Well, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because that was one thing in Fallout 4 that always bugged me. You'd be in the middle of something,
Hmm.
like deep into like like a cave or some like you're in the glowing sea, and all of a sudden you get a notification in the corner of your screen that says, "Hey, your outpost is under attack." I'm like, "Great, I'm in the middle of something here, man." Like, but if you don't go defend it, you have trouble.
Well,
So
maybe I don't
I
know
guess
for sure if they do attack when you're not there, but from my experience, I've never been attacked. My outpost has never been attacked when I wasn't there,
yeah, okay. Well, that's cool. Oh,
and
you know what
very
else
rarely
I
attacked
haven't done?
otherwise.
I have not done Sam Coe's quest.
That was funny because that's the one thing I just remembered I haven't done.
Yeah, it
I've
just
never done Sam's.
I don't know if that's at all telling, considering we both have former significant others that we've had children with. That might have something to do with, I don't know. Just the way he talks, like, man, I do not want to go through this.
Yeah, I'm
It
not
does
a big
not.
fan of that character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like him and I like Cora fine enough, I guess. But he's just, I don't know how to say it. He's just like something about him just doesn't jive with me. Like the
Yeah,
whole thing with his dad is like freaking weird, and
it is, and how
he
they
kind of,
treat each other, and yeah.
yeah, it's just not something. Yeah, and the way that Sam acts in regards to his legacy, just I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm a jerk for saying it, but it just seems a little much.
I am
Like
with you
you
on
have
that.
you have an opportunity to carve your own legacy.
So we'll just be jerk bros this episode.
Yeah, we'll do that.
There's the title of the episode.
It's and I don't know exactly everything that happens in Sam's quest line. I've heard a few things, but it seems like he's kind of pining for the past in a really weird way, and it's just a
Yeah.
lot of he's probably, and people talk trash about Sarah all the time, but Sam's got a lot of baggage, and I'm not talking about Cora. I mean, like he's got a lot of
He
stuff to
really
work
does.
through.
I know it makes the characters more real, but even in real life, there's people you just don't like and can't
Yeah,
get along with.
that's fair enough. I do have to go. Well, I haven't been back to the lodge yet. I have to see if Cora is fixed when I go back, or if she's still like weird giant
Oh,
child.
yeah.
I definitely did my rounds with mods this week, but let's see what else. I know there's plenty. I
I'm
know you
actually
guys
gonna be
got way
I'm
more
actually gonna be
game time
reviewing a
than me.
mod tonight.
You were gonna be reviewing a mod. Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
So
up,
go figure
I'm here
that.
for it, man. Yeah.
So you had to start all over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in retro, well, yes. Yes, I had to start over. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I was having problems with, like, I narrowed it down to the clothing pack mods that I was using. And I don't know what the actual problem was because there are clothing packs that I've used before.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it was some kind of conflict with the VBB version, the replacer, or if it was the clothing pack itself. Because before, when I had those loaded on my game, I loaded the individual mod.
My educated guess would be the replacer because when you're changing the
Yeah,
wireframe, the mesh, it can cause conflicts
yeah.
big time.
Well, I mean that definitely makes sense. Yeah. So I eventually got rid of all of them. I went back to vanilla, but I only downloaded because I got the replacer for Sarah, the outfit replacer. the one for Sarah, the one
Right.
for Noelle, and the one for Andrasia. But last time it was VBB. This time I went with vanilla. And I'm only using the clothing packs. I got the Crimson X and the Varun X. Those are going to be just for my character alone. And then I think I'm going to put the rest of my crew in the pirate and like the engineer outfits. So there's
Okay.
like some uniformity on my ship, but they're never leaving the ship. So I really don't care what they're wearing. I think that's the way I'm going to go. So I don't have to worry about that issue that I had with Andrasia where I put the Varun X on her, but she looked like a rail. So, which was the whole
Yeah.
reason I went with the VBB, and I couldn't change it even with the NPC enhancer gun. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let her have her. I went with the alt outfit for Andrasia, the one that you like.
Nice.
It sounded weird that way that came out. I got that widget. I got that outfit that you like. Um, yeah. All right, it's getting weird now. But yeah, so I did a lot of stuff in my mind. Well, the big issue with the issues that I was having is that I was so deep in at that point, I basically would have had to like almost start over with Shattered Space. So I decided that I was so close to being ready to go through the Unity anyways at that point. I was kind of eager to get to my evil playthrough as
Yeah, I
inspired
know that feeling.
by the widget. I kind of want to get that done anyways, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just start fresh. And I had some other interesting things actually happen with a couple of the other mods, including one I brought up last week.
Really? Man, you're just getting all kinds of luck being the mod master over here.
Hey, listen, it's for the people. All right,
Right?
listener, I see you there sitting in your car, or laying on your bed, or vacuuming the house. I see you. This is all for you. But no, that the one mod that I suggested, it was the alternate start mod.
Oh,
Not the
right. Yeah,
paid
yeah.
one. Yeah, are in Genesis. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna start a new game. So I checked my load order. I went through, I probably took like an hour and a half going through everything, make sure everything's in order. Everything's good to go, ready to go. And I started up and it needs some polishing because when the game kicks in, you got the loading screen, you got the little loading icon on the bottom right, and that was going, but you could watch the world spawn in.
Oh.
Like it was so bizarre. So you had like the landscape, you had the planet, and you could see the base, and then it flipped upside down, then it flipped back, and then things were loaded and other things were loading, all while normally there would be our normal loading screen with the, dreadfully obvious tip that's always at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It just drops you right in,
Did you know you can shoot
which
your
was
gun
cool.
by holding down the left mouse button?
Right.
Or
You
whatever it
can
is
use
on
stealth.
Xbox?
You can right. You can use the if you improve your stealth, it's easier to hide from enemies. Like yeah.
We should come up
And
with some tips for them.
we should absolutely. Oh, maybe that'll be my new outro. Just like painfully obvious gameplay tips.
Eating food
Uh,
will keep you healthy.
right. Bu- Bullets will lower your HP. Um. So, anyways, so this thing. Okay, so it loads up, and then boom, I pop up on the screen, and it's this. It looks like a moon or something, and there's this little outpost that's out there, and at first it looks completely abandoned. And I have two objectives. One objective is to, excuse me, one is to get the keys to the spaceship, and the other one is to collect artifact ETA, which I believe is the one that you actually originally get on Vectera. So basically, it gets you a ship so you can get off planet, and it gives you the first artifact so you can start doing that stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, cool. So you start with some basic equipment. I had my miner's cooling suit. I had a basic space suit and a Grendel. It's just like there's your objective. So I'm sneaking up towards the space. I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm not seeing any red dots. I'm not seeing anybody whatsoever. And I'm almost on top of the outpost when I notice that there's someone walking back and forth on top of the roof. I look up there and I zoom in, and it's a Varun zealot.
Goody.
Like, okay, yeah. So, and I have a Grendel, which is not my style to begin with. The damage is almost nothing.
Yeah, it's minuscule.
I think the main thing, I think the intention with this mod may have been that you go into your new game plus with this, because level one, I took shots at that one on the roof, and all of a sudden they just crawled out of the woodwork. At least like eight contacts, man. I mean, when they're talking about dropping you into a hostile environment, they weren't kidding. And I died twice before I finally just okay, I'm just gonna make a run for it. just try to like just like try to
Survive.
dude, it was not happening, man. And I'm like, this is and I was on normal, which is what I'm accustomed to, but I was also level one. So it was absolutely savage. I ended up quitting out of it and
Yeah,
getting
that's
rid of
when
the
the fight or flight instinct kicks in. You're like, you know what? Screw fighting.
Uh, I think maybe I don't know. I think the mod needs a little polishing. It's not a horrible idea. I think it would be cool if I was going into it at level 35, 40, something like that. It'd be cool. But yeah, at a level one, it was just too brutal. So I ended up taking that out.
You know what thing just
And I
occurred to
ended
me?
up,
I've been thinking about this.
what's
I'm
that?
sorry. Um,
No, go for it.
weapons. They are actually there's like what I consider starter weapons, and the more advanced weapons that actually have a minimal level cap before they start appearing into the world. I've never
Right,
gone over
right,
those weapons before. Like for instance, the Grendel's a level one
right.
weapon. And that's why it's lower
Right.
damage output. But then you get to like the hard target, which the minimum level you start seeing that's 45.
Oh, okay. I
So
see. I didn't know that at all.
yes, I think that's something we
That'd
have to
be,
get into in one of these episodes.
yeah, I think that's a good segment we should do at a future date.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that because I think that'd be pretty cool, especially going over the new tiers of the weapons, especially with melee weapons. Because I don't even know what half of those tiers mean right now. Anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with the new Varun stuff we got too,
Yep.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
I think the people would like that. Indeed.
As you were saying.
Oh well, I yeah. So I got rid of RN Genesis. I restarted basically, and this time around I'm going Soldier, Alien DNA, Serpent's Embrace, and
Okay.
Taskmaster because ship building is my thing. I like my ship,
What
and
is
Taskmaster is
Taskmaster?
super useful. That is the one where you have a certain percentage chance. I believe it's 50% chance when you add a block. It helps you repairing your ship if you have train crew on your ship, basically.
Okay.
So it makes the skills of your compatriots a little bit better,
Yeah, that's one
so
of the
that you can.
sections of the skill tree that I have never gotten into, or very little, in fact.
Oh, okay. Well, I have I have quite a bit. I don't know. There's like different percentages with it, depending on what it is, as far as how much it will like change how far you can grav jump. Although it doesn't go over 30 light years, anyways. But or whatever it is, the max. Um, and how, like how much damage you do and how well your shields like it'll give you boost to shields and stuff like that.
Okay.
It gets it gets a little crunchy, but yeah. So obviously I started from the beginning. We know how the beginning begins, and I thought it was something I caught this time around. I don't know how it didn't ring a bell in my brain before, but Vectera is on the quote unquote west side of the map, right?
Okay. Yeah,
And
I
then you
believe
have the
so.
Freestar Collective. Yeah, you have the Freestar Collective that's kind of more in the center, and in between it is the UC. However, Vectera is considered is considered Freestar Collective space. They say it a couple times,
Really?
but it's yeah. But Vectera is way on the other side of UC space from the Freestar Collective, which I thought was curious.
That is curious. I didn't know that.
So is that just well, we decided to put it over here after we recorded the voice lines, or is it a matter of is the Freestar trying to colonize other planets, or maybe there's some lore thing that I missed completely that is in the game that would
One
explain
thing
it?
I've learned about Bethesda games, and even working with them, is that they don't really do stuff like that without intention.
Right.
I mean, yeah, there's
Hmm.
cutting corners and things like that. Like someone mentioned the fact that the mech factory in the Freestar quest line is called the factory,
Right.
and I know that firsthand that was just a designer going up to the writer and being like, "Okay, we don't have a name for this building yet. What do you want to call it?" And I can see him completely disheveled, glasses halfway crooked, at his desk, giving the designer a nasty look with like 7 empty cups of coffee next to him. I don't know, just whatever. Call it the factory.
I mean, but it kind of works locally if you think about it, because if we're talking like that, the nickname of that was given by the first, and the first is using it as their home base. If they're anywhere else in the world, it's like, well, where do we go? I was like, oh, we go back to the factory. I worked
Hmm.
for a road construction company a couple years ago. I was with them for a season, and our main headquarters was up on a hill, and so they called it the mountain. That's what we
Yeah.
called it. Nobody else called it that. It's like, oh, well, what do you got to do? Well, I got to take this truck back to the mountain. It needs to be serviced. Okay. Well, we know where that is. That's in Auburn. So, so maybe it was just, it works. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it was just the designer saying, I don't care what you call it, but it also works that like it would make sense that within the group they would call it the factory just because it's the factory. Okay, well, you say the factory and everybody knows what it is because that's where their main base is. I don't know.
Maybe. The Hatfield is the one that brought up that factory thing. And there was a lead writer, Emil, and he would have that face on him every time I went to ask him for a naming problem. You guys didn't put a name down for this area, so what did you have in mind? The looks he gave me? Okay, I see this is a bad time. I'll come back to you on that.
Right. But I can see how that might happen. How that might affect people in an environment like that, especially if you guys are pressing to get a game out.
Oh, yeah. Especially if they forget to name it and they use just a placeholder name, like the factory. It's like, okay, fine, just call it the placeholder name. We'll just call it that.
Right. Kind of makes you think about some other things, I think. But anyways, so yeah, the issues that I was having with this mod, circling back to that a little bit, when I went back to Vexera to start this current playthrough of mine, the first thing that happened that I noticed that something was still wrong was that when Heller hands you the tablet, so like, hey, does any of this look familiar? And you have to create your character.
Right.
There's no tablet in his hands.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, okay, well,
uh-oh.
Yeah, like he was just like holding his hand out. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, we don't know what that means yet. So I went through and did everything, and then I went out to meet Barrett, and then this was also an issue I had before. Vasco was invisible.
Oh, okay.
All you could see
that's
was
a good
like
thing in my opinion.
Well, I like Vasco, and I got a cool mod for him that works really well. But he's got all you could see was like a little lens floating. Like it was almost impossible to find him.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
like, all right. I'm like,
good.
well, that's not a good sign. And then the Crimson Fleet showed up. And then sure enough, we're missing legs and we're missing feet. And I'm like, okay, so I'm still having issues. So then I took off from there, and you fight the ships in orbit. I went to New Atlantis, and then I saw like a woman walk directly in front of frame. Her dress was invisible. Predator cloak, you could see right through her.
Well, that'd be a good idea if her dress was invisible, but nothing else. But yeah, if you can see right through it, that's an issue.
Yeah, unfortunately, everything was invisible. So that's when I went to the lodge and I saw Sarah was a floating head in the library. I'm like, all right. So
okay, that could be funny.
That's why I had to back. Yeah, that's why I had to back out. I'm like, it's got to be the VBB thing, man. That's the only thing I can think of. Nobody's done it yet. Nobody's done it for a reason. There's a couple of mods out there, but I don't know if they work any better than this one. I'm not really interested in trying it. But so yeah, so I went back, I rolled back, yeah, all that. Oh yeah, when I had to go back to Crete for the second time.
Yeah.
And it was the only bummer because the first time I hit a +5 option on the persuasion. That confrontation on the roof at the research facility was done with. This time I couldn't have possibly done worse. Every option was a fail. And I'm like, all right, well, there is the flammable container behind you. I know that. So it turned out to be a little bit of a fight, actually. It was a little tough one. I got back with that, or I did all that, and took care of the Crimson Fleet people, and they all had their legs and everything, so everything was fixed there. That was cool.
And until you took them off for them.
I assisted in the removal. Very surgical. So I go back and I go to New Atlantis, of course. You got to check that out. I go to New Atlantis and everybody's whole.
Oh,
and I've never been so happy.
I bet.
So thrilled.
Breath of fresh air.
Happy. So, and then I of course, I built a new ship.
Oh, so, naturally. How'd you get the money?
Yeah. Oh, I cheated.
100%. Fair enough.
100%. I'm not even shy about it. There's one, it's called Galbank Heist, which sounds way cooler than it is. But basically what it does is it spreads all of these cred sticks out under the counter in Galbank in New Atlantis. And there's like, I don't even know how many there are, because there's like 4 or 5 sections of desk, and there's just like dozens, and every one is like 65,000 credits or something like ridiculous like that.
That's more of a fun way than what I did.
What'd you do?
Just a command.
Okay, well, I'm not a fancy PC gamer, man. I have to find other ways to do these things. The way.
But see, your way is more fun.
It is. I mean, it wasn't. I was expecting it to be something like I crouch down. I go behind. Well, I mean, it's crouched down to reach all the cred sticks anyway. So I crouch down to go behind the counter, and like there's one of the clerks or whatever is like right there, like right next to me the whole time. I'm just like picking up cred sticks off the floor of the bank. I'm like, all right, cool.
Don't mind me. I'm
Like you
just
don't mind.
I'm maintenance.
I'm
Facilities
just cleaning
maintenance.
up. Right. It's like if you went into like Chase. There's
Yeah.
like
$100 bills everywhere.
and you just walk behind the counter and there's a bunch of $100 bills over the floor. You're like, just don't mind me. Just
Yeah, my name
Okay, see ya.
my name is John Doe. Yeah, I was hired to pick all this up for you guys. It's gonna go into account. Don't worry.
It's definitely doing that. So I built this. It's in the Discord. I just basically took the Frontier and replaced everything with Teo parts because I never used Teo. Really like the way it turned out. Not too fancy, but turned out pretty good.
Yeah, for your beginnership in quotes here, because you
for my
A class, right?
Because no,
okay, so you went all out into cheating. Got it,
dude. I have no shame, man. Listen,
no, see that's the thing.
I,
this is a single player game. If you want to cheat in your game, that's entirely up to you. I just don't like doing it for me.
Well, my only thing is the only reason that I do what I do. I'm still playing the game. Like I don't do anything that does crazy damage. I don't put God mode on or anything like that. It's just a matter of
no less of you, buddy.
Literally have. Well, I appreciate that, but for my listeners and the people who are judging me right now, I can hear you. the whole reason is because I have so little time to play. I don't have time to grind back up to level 87 and get through all my. Listen, all right.
Yeah, it's a grind.
I'm here to make I mean, do you guys want to have like the next however many episodes be me grinding? It's just the same. No. I don't feel bad about it. So I finish the ship and I take it up. It turns out I'm on the dark side of Jemison at that point. So I'm like, well, that's not really great for pictures. I need some sunlight. Here's the thing. I jumped to, I can't remember what the name of the Jemison's moon is, but I jumped over there and I get there and lo and behold, the Oracle shows up.
Really?
Which I think is a little bit. Listen, there's got to be some. Dude, there's got to be some kind of something that can be done about that because it's a little weird that the UC wouldn't notice a Varun star station suddenly appearing in orbit around the moon of their capital planet.
Yeah, that would be kind of a dead giveaway.
So I thought that was kind of weird.
A little bit of immersion breaking.
A little bit. I mean, it's all good. But I think that's something that maybe only like unoccupied worlds or something that should show up in.
Yeah, exactly.
You could randomize, right? You just randomize.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of them out there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So,
well, it's called a randomization with exclusion. So
there you go. I knew there was a word for
it. The randomization options in the code, you can have it exclude certain things. And you have to, in fact, because otherwise it would just be 100% random, and that creates a whole lot of chaos.
Right, right.
It's just a couple lines.
There we go. I'm sure there'll be a mod for it soon.
All right, dude. I have a mod to review.
All right, hit me. What you got?
So I talked about downloading the Lumia mod last episode. It's the sniper rifle.
Yeah.
I downloaded it. I paid for it. I think it was like $6, and I am not thrilled, to be honest.
Really?
For one, the gun models don't look good in your hand. They look really, really funky looking. Like I was comparing like a hard target or an old earth and swapping between those three, and it just looked really, really off. I don't like the look of it. Okay. I like the skin options though, and there is a whole lot of options for modding the gun. And they even have an assault rifle as well. The assault rifle is underpowered, weak, an assault rifle. So it's fun in its own right. There is no icon in your hotbar when you put it in your hotbar. So it looks like an empty space on your hotbar.
Mag.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the sniper rifle
is a paid mod?
Yeah, paid mod. And the sniper rifle is way overpowered for what it is. Because the sniper rifle version is the same caliber as a hard target or the other useless rifle that I never used, Lawmaker. Okay, and it does, at a white quality in the beginning of the game, it does double the damage of a hard target.
Wow.
Yeah, and that to me is a little bit too cheaty for my taste. Because I can take out elites, level 90 plus elites with one shot. No, not for me. So I'm probably, like, if I was to give this mod like a ranking from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 4. And it gets a lower score because it is a paid mod.
Yeah, see, and that's the kind of stuff that I don't like using. The stuff that makes stuff way overpowered like that.
Yeah, so I don't use it anymore.
There you go.
Yeah, the assault rifle I have on my hotbar, but I'm going to see if I can find if there is a different higher tier, because some of these weapon mods, they don't go above white quality. So they don't put anything unique in there, and it's a lot of code work. But so I don't know if they do legendaries with that or not. If they do, I might check it out. Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
I started my game, and I did another mission with Trackers Alliance, and lo and behold, I found my third Ashta.
Nice.
I was getting ready for a long haul, save scumming the crap out of it to get like that, at least that epic hard target that I found that I liked so much my last playthrough. The first one I did, legendary spacesuit. On par for my luck, right? The second load, a legendary hard target on my second attempt. And here's the kicker. It's good.
Yeah. Oh.
It's not my ideal. No bashing. No space adept.
Okay.
Is anti-personnel, which is one of the 3 that I think is a must on it. So it's 10% damage to humans. The other 2, I'm not a huge fan of because it's kind of useless for a hard target, but it's not worthless. It's lacerate, which is a bleeding effect, and elemental.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The only chance that I would not, it gives you a random elemental chance on them. So like lighting them on fire, electrocuting them, that kind of thing, which is great when I'm taking on elites, high level elites, because it takes usually about 2 to 4 shots to take those guys out, depending on where I hit them. So that works on that end, but most of my targets, no. So I was just beyond thrilled that it only took my second attempt to get a legendary hard target, the first one I have ever found in game that was not worthless.
It's awesome, dude.
I would love to find
paid off
my
eventually.
ideal, but yeah, eventually.
Okay,
if I ever find my ideal hard target, I'm going to pee myself, screenshot it, and never leave that playthrough.
Do horse in the mouth, Widget. Do not look this kid's horse in the mouth, man.
Nope.
I don't know. You better find like a whole pantheon of fate gods or something.
I'm knocking on every bit of wood I can find.
I don't know what. Yeah, you should be throwing pennies in the fountains without asking for wishes. I like
pay it back.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it blew my mind. That was the best luck I've ever gotten. And it's the only legendary I have, happens to be a hard target. And that was right after I spent money on buying a white version and then spending 45 minutes modding it up. So I had to go mod up that one completely. Right. I can't have a hard target, and I cannot have it the way I want it. High powered, and suppressor's a must.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I have to have that. So I completed that, and I was like, you know what? I forgot I wanted to do the quest that I keep trying to get you to do all the time, escape.
Yeah.
I forgot I was going to do that one. So I actually went to the Oracle and started going on my playthrough for Rune Kai, because I wanted to check it out being evil. And I really want to find one of those legendary weapons one of these days. So I did the Oracle, and it wasn't that difficult, even though I didn't have the best weapons in the world. Like, I literally had my hard target and a couple of white weapons that were okay. And I did the trash compactor part, which is a straight nod to Star Wars.
I love that part, honestly. It scared the heck out of me the first time I played it.
I died. And yeah, I was on a voice chat with Archon when they just released that morning. And he was going off about this one spot that, got to him, but he said that he wouldn't tell me, which is cool, because 5 minutes later, I died from it. No idea I had to find a battery the first time. It took me the second time to figure it out. But this time, I actually I couldn't find the battery anywhere. I know there's at least 2 of them in the room. And not even 2 feet away, the wall was about 2 feet away when I finally found one and struggled to get that thing put in and hit that button right before it nearly crushed me. It was like one of those out of those movie moments.
Fantastic.
I went through that whole Oracle thing without much incident, taking things out. I had to save quite frequently and died like 4 or 5 times, but made it through it. And I bypassed, because I was thinking about my playthrough, and it's been so hard to catch myself every time. I actually have to stop and think now about every conversation choice. Because my normal instinct is to pick the good choices and go on, right?
Right.
Having to pick the bad guy choices has been super difficult.
Yeah.
I bypassed all the ceremony for House Varun. Didn't kill the Groat, nothing. Didn't go to any of the altars, nothing. The only thing I did, because you have to, is pick your 2 statues. And I didn't look up...
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't look up the name of anything, of what the different names you can get. So I picked 2 that I thought would be pretty cool for my character. And I got Harbinger.
It's still a pretty cool name.
Yeah, and it kind of fits with my playthrough. It's a Harbinger of doom. Of death. From a distance.
From a distance. With justice.
Yeah.
And justice, actually, this time around.
Started doing the main story, and I figured, you know what? The dual quest is coming up. And that's going to be a great way for me to get into this character's bad playthrough.
I cannot wait to hear about this.
And so I did not try to convince either brother at all to go away from the duel.
Okay.
In fact, I encouraged it. Like, yeah, okay, you made up your mind. Let's do this. And it got to the point where the Trank And do you have any guess which one I chose of the 4 different ways?
I do not actually. What is the?
It's
I have not
either
played that one yet.
it's no trank, trank one of the brother, trank the other brother, or trank both.
I'm sure you tranked both of them.
I didn't trank a single one.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to see this play out, and I wanted to see who's going to win.
Right. Who won?
You want to know?
No,
Okay, then
not
I'll
really.
say.
No, I want to experience it.
All right, I'll keep it as is.
I'll be doing that one. Yeah. Okay.
Needless to say, it was not very surprising, but the end result was hilarious because that lady that you're helping, the other second, gets really PO'd at you, like seriously PO'd at you. You do get a lot more money for it, less
That's
XP.
how it goes through this game, though. Yeah, but that's kind of how a lot of stuff works, right? Especially if you're like taking bribes and stuff. Like you're gonna make more money if you can be a little bit more devious.
Yeah, and to prep for that, I've actually put points into the bribery skill. I forgot the name of it, but you get more money from bribes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing that in prep.
That's a good one. Heck yeah.
I have all my combat skills maxed where I want them. I don't have every combat skill, but I have my character built. That's the one skill tree I know to a T is the combat.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so I've been doing things, and so I started going back to the house. And oh, by the way, I didn't realize this when I first played through it, but when you first play through Shattered Space, you don't have Starborn dialogues because it's the first time you're experiencing it.
Right.
But now that I went to New Game Plus, now it's giving me Starborn responses on dialogue. And those get fascinating. Yeah.
Really?
A whole different way. And it's different results too. The first house I have on my list, it seems, I don't know if it's random what house you do first, because House Fathal was not the first one I did on my last playthrough. It was the second one I did.
I thought you could pick.
Can you? Probably. And I was just probably at that one spot at the right time. I probably can pick.
Right.
So I did House Fathal, and I figured, that's a perfect one to do this with anyway, because he wants you to go kill his son.
Right. Perfect.
And he wants you to kill anyone that helped him. I was like, well, okay, I'm going to do just that.
You got it, boss.
Got his buddy with me, and went hunted him down, and sure enough, I killed him and his buddy. Oh, I felt like such an a-hole.
Well, I mean, part of the fun of it.
Got back, turned the signet ring in, and his dad's like, well, thank you so much for getting it done. And everyone else hates me. I'm like, yep, I'm on the right track here.
Not a problem, bud.
Yeah, no sweat. We're good. And that robot farm was a shootout and a half, too. Trying to pick the option to attack. If that's the option, instead of trying to convince him, I'm going to attack.
Right.
And there was one point where one of the farm robots was fighting me. And I was inside the building, and it was just outside the building behind a door. And I took one shot with my hard target. Went right through the robot, and it took out a Groat behind it. I saw the Groat animation dying as the robot fell dead. It was like, oh, jeez.
Oh, whoops.
My bad.
Was that Bert Gumter from Tremors? Remember those movies?
Oh, yes. Yep.
There's the one where he's like trying to take out one of the little creatures, the one with legs.
Yeah.
You see like two brick walls and engine block of a Cadillac. Like,
Those are such good movies.
they're amazing.
Well, that was my playthrough, and we're getting low on time, so we're going to get into mods.
All right, yeah, we can do that. Just a little update. Well, I already talked about RN Genesis being a nightmare.
Right.
The Rev 8 Pro Chrome, I did install, and it looks amazing.
Really?
And it's super reflective. Yeah, it is.
Chromed out bling.
New Atlantis at night. Yeah, it reflects all the lights and stuff. It looks sweet. It's awesome. I love it. I think it's cool. Well, I mean, I don't know. It might be partially like it was the first Rev 8 mod that I installed that actually worked. So that's also a bonus.
Well, they fix it all in the update.
But, right. Okay. So I got a couple of good mods here. I thought this one was cool. It's the Institute of Naval Technology Glassless Cockpits by Flight Controller. And what this does is it adds cockpits that are solid hull on the outside, but offer your cockpit view is basically like video.
Oh, okay.
So it's more, so it makes more sense for like a military vessel. You don't want weak points like glass.
Honestly, that makes a whole lot of sense for traveling in space, period.
Right. Except the meteorites or small particles, whatever, that would normally destroy like space shuttle or something. Yeah.
You look at,
I thought that was actually really cool.
Famous TV series like Star Trek, the bridge doesn't have windows. That's all a view screen.
Right. Exactly. Which I thought was really cool. So I'm probably going to download that one.
Yeah, that one I like.
We have another one from Bryn that came out. It's
He's
called
on the roll.
Aventech. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff lately. We need to get him back on the show.
I was just going to say that. Bryn, you have an open invite, buddy. Give us a time. We'll do it.
That's it. Aventech deployables, and what this does is adds a bunch of tools, gear, and weapons that can be found in the world at vendors, or you can even craft it yourself. It's a
Okay.
bunch of different, from a drone mini bot to explosive rocket to a mission board connector. This is the one that piqued my interest. That basically it logs you onto the local network of mission boards, and you can go to all the mission boards in a city just by visiting, whatever, visiting your connector.
Okay. I'm gonna actually buy his paid mod. I was looking at it the other day.
Yeah, I know. I want it to. It looks pretty sweet. Let's see here. Oh, this one I just thought was super helpful. It's one thing I deal with a lot because I loot like crazy. It's called the Companion Shared Carry Capacity by Cordic. And basically, what it does is instead of you having to here, take all of my iron, Andrasia, and going into the inventory and doing the switch, everything like that, it basically makes your followers' carry capacity count on top of your own. So it adds your followers' carry capacity to your own. So everything you pick up, you don't have to transfer it. You're basically carrying as much as the both of you could carry together without having to go
Okay.
through the menus. Yeah. this this last one is amazing, and I cannot wait to try it. It's called Flying Mine
Oh
Frisbee
no. Oh, okay.
by
This makes sense.
Wasteland Dweller, and basically all it does is it makes mines throwable like
I like
grenades,
that idea.
which is amazing. Yes, I can. Yeah, that one. That one looks like fun. That's
So an
that's
actual
most
use
that's
for
what I got.
mines.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I never used, but if I could throw them, yeah, absolutely. We're playing we're playing
Mine frisbee all
ultimate
day.
frisbee. We're playing ultimate frisbee all day. Yeah.
That gives a new meaning to ultimate frisbee.
Well, here's my question. If this allows you to do that, does that mean that the enemy could do it too?
Hmm.
That wasn't in the description, that the
Ooh.
enemies couldn't throw them back. So that's a
Or
good
if your
question.
follower can, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jude, I would never. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got for mods this week.
All right, so we're gonna go into Rook's log right now.
Hello, everybody. Quick side note before I record my logs. Rook here, the actual host, not my character. I have been basing these Rook's logs for the Shattered Space expansion on using Rook, my first character, my explorer, the one I haven't played in a while because of New Atlantis and the bug I have with that. So I'm running this character. It is not Kalen, my soldiers, so there will be differences on how I approach things. I'm just clarifying that I am not on Kalen, my new primary character I've been running. I am on my original character. So if you're confused as to why I've switched up my role playing a little bit, that's why. Now, let's get on with the log, shall we? Well, this is entertaining. I have never done this before. I didn't know I could do something like this. Before anybody would actually acknowledge me when I was on the planet, I actually had to go and find out what was going on because nobody would talk to me since I'm an outsider. So they asked me to go and I guess join their ranks, you could say, to get anointed as a follower of the serpent. Well, that was uninspiring to say the least. They call me a diviner now, but the trial was easy. I thought it would be harder. I don't know. It was just really easy. Sorry, I'm also drinking some Terra Brew. I was sitting here going through. To be honest, I don't know what I was expecting. Was I expecting some supernatural thing? Probably not. But hey, you never know with these things. So I went through, did all of the things I was supposed to do, and got anointed a diviner. So now I'm able to roam around the city. Not people are still ain't happy, but apparently with me being the only one that can talk to the void forms, yeah, people find that weird. I find that weird. Went and talked to the council afterwards, and they're telling me I need to go and help out with this project. So I started going to help this project. But me being who I am, I decided to go explore. So off to exploring the city I did. And there's not much to it. It looks like it's had one heck of a ride. I'm still getting not used to the reddish purplish skies. That's different. No other planet in the system that I've come across while exploring, or systems in the sector, I should say. So it's different. I find it really weird that they all are so vastly different. I wonder if I can find more information on why they are here, why they chose this area for their home. Vurunkai is not bad. The people are, for lack of a better term, dicks. But it is what it is. I was sitting there talking to one of the leaders of the house, and one of the council members from that house gave me some wildly crazy information. There are zealots here, but they're not much of a threat to me. They haven't been for a while. And I'm probably going to go hunt them down here in a little bit. I don't know how good I'll be at hunting them down. Because, I'm not a soldier. I'm an explorer. I don't even have a certification to use jetpacks. So what do you expect? But I think it'll be interesting. I have also realized it is very boring out here by myself. But ever since I went through the Unity, I refuse to go and talk to Constellation again. Yes, I talked to them enough and got their ship, the Frontier, because I can actually make it my own versus the Starborn ship that I wake up in when you jump through the Unity. But that's another question. Why would they make a ship? Or why would a ship... How would you get... First of all, who gives you that ship? Second of all, why is that ship non-upgradable? Make it a really cool ship. Probably the same thing about the Starborn suit. But I'm really curious. How do you wind up in a new ship and in the new suit as a Starborn? I wonder if anybody has ever thought about that. And I've been finding myself thinking about all sorts of things being here on Vurunkai. But I've been curious. When you jump through a Unity, you get this ship and you get this suit. You wake up on on this ship. But nothing explains how you get this ship. How the ship is given to you. How you wind up on the ship. The that thing that you have to go through or activate to be able to go to the Unity, that doesn't create anything for you. So what causes it? I don't know. It makes me really curious. But that's a thought that's going to have to wait, because I need to go finish working for this house and go take on these Ruin Zealots. And hopefully I will have a new log after that's done and after I make some progress. But until then, I will end my log here and see what goes on further. Rook out.
All right, so this is the end of the show, everybody. If you want to reach out to us through email for business, to advertise on the show, things of that nature, to come on as a guest, for an interview, or if you're a mod creator, starfieldRaw@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to us directly through our Discord. It is the place to be. Come join where everyone's talking about Starfield and nerdy things galore. That's discord.gg/Raw Podcasts. R.A.W. PODCASTS. Our Facebook is Raw Podcasts. Our Instagram
is Raw Podcast 1.
And you can follow us on X at Starfield Raw. And also, check out our other show, Raw and Nerdy. We record it every Sunday night. It comes out every Monday morning. It's about all thing nerdy. If you're caught up on Starfield Raw and you want to, digest more of our content, that's the way to do it.
It's a great way to start your week.
I'm even reading my books on that feed as well. Doing a little audiobook chapter by chapter. And I'm on chapter 13, I think.
Also really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you. It's a pain.
You're welcome.
It's a pain to do, but I like doing it for you guys.
Labor of love. Of love.
You can follow us individually. I am at the Wigit, THEWIGIT, on everything. You can even find my books by Googling that name.
And I am Kilo, and you can find me at Kilo Tango 1122 everywhere.
Have a fantastic week out in the stars, everybody.
So much universe and so little time. Terry Pratchett.